Today we discuss the third subtopic during sexual reproduction in flowering plants is pollination. Before going to pollination, let's we discuss male gametophyte development and female gametophyte development. Generally, there are two haploid amoeboid shaped male gametes formed in pollen tube during male gametophyte development. How two haploid amoeboid shaped male gametes formed in pollen tube during male gametophyte development, we discuss just peripheral. During microsporogenesis, the process of microsporogenesis, it takes place in microsporangia. Microsporangia is also called as pollen sac. For example, in the structure of stamen, there are two main parts are present. One is the filament and another one is anther. Most of the anthers are bilobed and dithecous anther. Each theca having two spherical shaped sac-like structures is called as pollen sacs or is also called as microsporangia. The process of this microsporogenesis can take place inside the microsporangia or pollen sacs. So what is microsporogenesis? When a diploid microspore mother cell undergoes meiotic cell division, it forms four haploid microspores is also called as pollen grains. It is called as tetrad of pollen grains or tetrad of microspores. At mature condition of these anthers, this tetrad of these microspores or pollen grains are separate to each other. This is the structure of one microspore or pollen grain. Each pollen grain is spherical shaped or rounded shape, measures 25 to 50 micrometer diameter. It is made up of two sporoderms. Outer sporoderm is called exine, intersporoderm is called intine. The chemical composition of exine is called sporopollenin and chemical composition of intine is pectin plus cellulose, pectocellulose. Now, these haploid pollen grain or microspore is the starting cell or the beginning cell for male gametophyte development. When these haploid unicellular uninucleated pollen grain or microspore undergoes first mitotic generation, pollen grain is haploid, then it is undergoes mitotic cell division to produce two unequal cells. The larger cell is called as vegetative cell, the nucleus is called vegetative nucleus. Vegetative nucleus is irregular shape. The smaller cell is called generative cell, the shape of nucleus is spindle shape. The small cell generative cell, it is float in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. In most of the nearly 60% of flowering plants are in angiosperms. The pollen grains released from the anthers in two cell stage. One is vegetative cell, another one is generative cell. Now this two-celled pollen grain, whenever it is released from the anther, it is land on surface of stigma. On the surface of stigma, the pollen grain will be rupture and germinate. When the outer exine will rupture, the inner intine produces pollen tube. The generative nucleus enters from pollen grain to pollen tube. It is undergoes second mitotic division, then it produces two haploid amoeboid shaped male gametes. The development of two haploid male gametes in a pollen tube is called as male gametophyte development. Generally, these are non-motile, there is no motility. This is just to recall the process of microsporogenesis and the development of male gametophyte in a bisexual flower or in stamens. So, male gametes are formed in a pollen tube, but these are non-motile, there is no motility. So, if this male gamete, it's want to transfer in towards female gamete, there is one specialized mechanism to reach this objective, that is called as pollination. And where is female gametes are developed? Let's we discuss now. So the process of megasporogenesis we need to discuss. The process of microsporogenesis can take place in microsporangia or pollen sacs. The process of megasporogenesis can take place in megasporangium, is also called as ovule. This is called as megasporangium or ovule. The process of megasporogenesis can take place in megasporangium or ovule. What is megasporogenesis? So the diploid megaspore mother cell, MMC, undergoes meiosis to produce 4 haploid megaspores. Out of these 4 haploid megaspores, 2 haploid megaspores towards micropyle end degenerated. 1 haploid megaspore will be functional. It is present towards chalazal end in the structure of ovule. Now this single functional haploid megaspore can develop into female gametophyte. The most common type of female gametophyte development or embryo sac development is monosporic type of embryo sac development. Reason is a single haploid megaspore is participate to development of 8 nucleated and 7 celled embryo sac in angiosperms is called as monosporic type of embryo sac development. Now the single haploid functional megaspore located towards chalazal end of megasporangium or ovule undergoes first mitotic generation to produce 2 nucleated embryo sac. Now this 2 nucleated embryo sac, it is undergoes second mitotic generations to form 4 nucleated embryo sac. Now this 4 nucleated embryo sac undergoes third mitotic generations. It produces 8 nucleated embryo sac. This is 8 nucleated embryo sac. In the 8 nucleated embryo sac, towards micropyle end, 3 cells are present is called egg apparatus. In the central cell of egg apparatus is called as egg cell. Egg cell is nothing but female gamete. It is also non-motile. In angiosperms or in flowering plants, male gametes are non-motile, female gametes also non-motile. How these non-motile male and female gametes brought together for fertilization? This is the question in this concept. There is one of the specialized mechanism to reach this objective for fertilization. The main objective to fulfill the fertilization in flowering plants is pollination. Pollination is the one of the best mechanism to ensure this objective in flowering plants for fertilization. So these male gametes are carried by pollen grains. These pollen grains reaches towards female gametes by the process of pollination. Now we need to discuss definition for pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma is called as pollination. The main definition for pollination is transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma is called as pollination. Once again, I repeat definition for pollination. If you can imagine in a bisexual flower, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma is called as pollination. This pollination in flowering plants is classified into 3 types based on the source of pollen grains. Based on the source of pollen grains means the source of pollen grain from the same flower of same plant or different flowers of same plant or different flowers of different plants. Because of this characteristic feature, pollination in flowering plants is classified into 3 types. The first one is autogamy. The second one is diatonogamy. Third one is xenogamy. Once again, I repeat, pollination is classified into 3 types based on the source of pollen grains in the plants, such as autogamy, diatonogamy, xenogamy. The first type of pollination is autogamy. Autogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma within the same flower. For example, this is a bisexual flower. The bisexual flowers having stamens and pistils. The stamens having anthers. Inside the anther, many pollen grains are produced. At mature condition of anther, the anther wall will rupture, the pollen grains are releases. These released pollen grains, if it is land on same flower stigma, is called as autogamy. Autogamy means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma within the same flower is called as autogamy. Autogamy is also called as self-pollination. Clear? The second type of pollination in flowering plants is diatonogamy. Diatonogamy. Diatonogamy means the transfer of pollen grains from anthers to surface of stigma between the 2 different flowers of same plant is called as diatonogamy. Diagrammatically, I can explain what is diatonogamy. For example, this is one plant. This plant having different flowers. This is one flower and this is one flower. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma in between 2 different flowers of same plant is called as diatonogamy. Diatonogamy functionally similar to cross pollination, but genetically similar to self-pollination. Which of the following type of pollination functionally similar to cross pollination, genetically similar to self-pollination means diatonogamy? The transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma in between two different flowers of same plant is called as diatonogamy. Diatonogamy functionally similar to cross pollination but genetically similar to autogamy or self-pollination. Let's come back to third type of pollination in flowering plants. The definition for third type of pollination in flowering plants, that is xenogamy. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma in between two different flowers of two different plants. For example, this is one genetically different plant. This is one genetically different plant. This is having genetically different flower. This is having genetically different flower. The transfer of pollen grains from anthers to surface of stigma. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma in between two different flowers of two different plants is called as xenogamy. Xenogamy is also called as true cross pollination. Which of the following type of pollination is called as true cross pollination, amma? Xenogamy. Xenogamy is functionally similar to and genetically similar to cross-pollination. Which of the following type of pollination both functionally similar and genetically similar to cross-pollination? Xenogamy. Cross-pollination is also called as allogamy. These are the three different types of pollination in flowering plants based on the source of pollen grains. Now we discuss what are the adaptations in a plant. Maybe unisexual flowers can produce or bisexual flowers can produce. If a plant can produce bisexual flower, there is a greater chances of autogamy or self-pollination. What are the adaptations to ensure self-pollination or autogamy in a flowering plants? We discuss now. Now the concept is adaptations to ensure self-pollination or autogamy in flowering plants. Generally, there are 4 different types of adaptations to ensure autogamy or self-pollination in flowering plants. The first adaptations to ensure self-pollination in plants is bisexuality. The second adaptations to ensure, that means guarantee, for self-pollination or autogamy in plants, homogamy. The third adaptations, bud pollination. The fourth adaptations, cleistogamy. These are the 4 different types of adaptations to ensure autogamy or self-pollination in flowering plants. Let's discuss the first adaptations to ensure autogamy in plants. Already you know very well, autogamy or self-pollination means transfer of pollen grains from anther to surface of stigma within the same flower is called as autogamy. So, for this kind of autogamy, the first adaptation to ensure this autogamy is bisexuality. If a plant can produce as bisexual flower, there is a chances of autogamy. If a plant can produce as unisexual flowers, there is no chances of autogamy. The production of bisexual flowers is called as bisexuality. When the flower is bisexual, there is a chances of autogamy. This is the first adaptation. The second adaptation to ensure autogamy in plants is homogamy. According to Greek language, homo means same or similar, gamy means gametic fusion. So here, in a bisexual flower, male sex organ is called as stamens. Each stamen having 2 parts, filament and anther. Inside the anther, pollen grains are produced. Pollen grains is also called as microspores. Inside the pollen grains, male gametes are produced. The female reproductive structure is called as pistil. Pistil is also called as carpel. Inside the pistil or carpel, female gametes are produced. If the maturation of this female gamete and male gametes at different times in a bisexual flower, there is no chances of autogamy. If the maturation of male gametes and female gametes in a bisexual flower at the same time is called as homogamy. The maturation of male and female gametes at same period, it causes a great synchronization, means understanding in between male and female gametes. Then there is a chances of self-pollination or autogamy. This is the second adaptation to ensure autogamy in plants. Homogamy means maturation of male gametes and female gametes in a bisexual flower at the same time. The third adaptations to ensure autogamy or self-pollination in plants is bud pollination. The best example for bud pollination is rice and wheat. If a plant can produce buds, buds are closed in state. During bud condition, if the stamens produces male gametes and the pistil produces female gametes, whenever it is closing state, there is a chances of self-pollination. During bud condition, flower is closed. there is a chances of autogamy. Such kind of pollination is called as bud pollination. Bud pollination also causes autogamy. Example, rice plant and wheat plant. The last and final most adaptations to ensure self-pollination or autogamy in plants is cleistogamy. According to Greek language, cleisto means closed. When a flower is not open, if pollination takes place, if self-pollination takes place in a closed flowers. Once again, I repeat, what is cleistogamy? Cleisto means closed. Flowers are not open. In such kind of cases, self-pollination or autogamy can take place. An autogamy or self-pollination takes place in a closed flowers is called as cleistogamy. This is the fourth adaptation to ensure a self-pollination or autogamy in flowering plants. Example, viola plant, common name is common pansy. Second one is oxalis plant. The third one is Commelina bengalensis. Viola, commonly called as common pansy, oxalis and Commelina bengalensis. These are the plants can exhibit cleistogamy. In Commelina bengalensis, it produces two different types of flowers. This is the diagrammatic presentation of Commelina bengalensis plant on rough diagram. So the Commelina plant produces two different flowers. Closed flowers are called as cleistogamous flowers. Open flowers are called as chasmogamous flowers. In Commelina bengalensis, the underground part of the plant or underground, the plant body produces closed flowers or cleistogamous flowers. Aerial side produces open flowers or chasmogamous flowers. In which of the following plant produces two different flowers means Commelina bengalensis. Underground closed flowers and aerial side open flowers. Closed flowers is called cleistogamous flowers and open flowers is called chasmogamous flowers. When a flower is not open, self-pollination if takes place, such kind of phenomenon is called cleistogamy. It is also ensure the autogamy in plants. Let's discuss what are the advantages of autogamy or self-pollination. If self-pollination takes place in any flowering plants, the first advantages is it must be ensure seed formation, even absence of pollinating agents, either water, wind, insects, birds, snakes, bats and other if any pollinating agent is absent, there is a guarantee to production of seed if a plants are doing autogamy or self-pollination. This is the first advantage. The second advantage is there is no need to attract any insects or birds. Then there is no production of costliest nectar and costliest fragrance to attract insects. These are the two advantages of autogamy. But there is disadvantages also is there for autogamy. When continuous self-pollination can take place, it causes inbreeding depression or causes homozygosity. And the second one is the offsprings produces by self-pollination or autogamy having limited genetic variations or limited genetic diversity. These are the advantages of autogamy, disadvantages of autogamy and the different methods of adaptation to ensure autogamy in plants. Now we discuss if a plant can exhibit allogamy or cross-pollination, it must be require pollinating agents, either wind or water or insects or birds or bats or snakes or snails. Pollinating agents are required in cross-pollination, not required in self-pollination. Agents are participated in cross-pollination or allogamy, or agents involved in cross-pollination or allogamy, either geitonogamy or xenogamy. What are the types of agents can participate in cross-pollination is also called as allogamy. Example, xenogamy and geitonogamy. Reason is, in xenogamy or geitonogamy, it takes place in between two different flowers. Whenever pollination takes place in between two different flowers, agent must be required. So that's where now the topic is agents involved in cross pollination or allogamy. Here I am giving one tabular form, different agents and their scientific name and examples for cross pollination. Here the first column having name of the agent, the second column is scientific name, the third column is examples. Generally, there are two different types of agents involved in cross pollination. One is abiotic agents, second one is biotic agents. Abiotic means if an agent is not having life, is called as abiotic agents. If an agent having life is called biotic agents. Let's we discuss the first type of agent involved in allogamy or cross pollination is abiotic agents. There are two different abiotic agents such as wind and water. So wind, if cross pollination takes place in between two different flowers or two different plants by abiotic agent, wind is called as anemophily. Cross pollination by abiotic agent, wind is called as anemophily. Anemophily is most common in grasses. Example, rice, wheat, sugarcane, bamboo. Out of these two abiotic agents, the most common abiotic agent is among abiotic agents is wind. Wind is the most common amongst abiotic agents. If cross pollination by wind is called anemophily, anemophily is most common in grasses. Example, rice, wheat, sugarcane, bamboo. The second type of abiotic agent is water. If cross pollination by abiotic agent water is called hydrophily. If cross pollination takes place by water on the surface of water is called as epihydrophily. Epi means surface, outside the water. If the cross pollination takes by water is called hydrophily. Hydrophily is of two types, epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. If cross pollination takes place outside the surface of water is called epihydrophily. Example, Vallisneria, freshwater aquatic plant, and one more, hydrilla. If cross pollination by water it takes place inside the water is called hypo, means inside, hypohydrophily. Example, marine sea grass, scientific name Zostera. So out of these two abiotic agents, the most common abiotic agent is wind. Water is quite rare abiotic agent. It is restricted to only 32 genera of plants. Which of the following abiotic agent is quite rare agent means water? It's restricted to only 32 genera of plants, especially we are seen in monocots. Monocots cross pollination by water. Now, biotic agents. If an agent having life is called biotic agents. So, biotic agents may be insects, birds, bats, snails, snakes. Most of the flowering plants cross pollination by biotic agents. If the cross pollination by biotic agent insects is called as entomophily. Example, yucca plant, salvia plant, Calotropis and Aristolochia. So if in case, if cross pollination by birds is called as ornithophily. Example, Bombax, Callistemon, bottle brush plant. If the cross pollination by bats is called as Chiropterophily. Example, Anthocephalus and Adansonia. If the cross-pollination by snails is called as Malacophily. Example, Arum and lilies. If cross-pollination by snakes is called as Ophiophily. Example, parasitic plant, Santalum album and Michaelia champaka. Out of all these biotic agents, the most common biotic agent is insects. Let's discuss. What are the characteristic features of wind-pollinated plants, water-pollinated plants, insect-pollinated plants? We discuss now. Characteristic features of wind-pollinated plants or anemophilous plants. In general, if a plant wants to exhibit pollination by wind, it must be follows some different characters. The first characteristic features of wind pollinated plants. Generally, wind pollinated plants, wind pollination is most common abiotic agent. Generally, there are two abiotic agents, wind and water. Out of these two abiotic agents, the most common abiotic agent is wind. This is the first characteristic features of wind pollinated plants. The second one is, if cross pollination by wind is called as anemophily. Cross pollination by wind is called as anemophily. Out of two different types of abiotic agents, the most common amongst abiotic agents is wind. Wind pollination is most common in grasses. Example for grasses: rice, wheat, bamboo, sugarcane. So generally, in wind pollinated plants, if the flowers are small sized, all these flowers are packed into inflorescence. In wind pollinated plants, if the flowers are small sized, all these flowers are packed into inflorescence. This is one of the characteristic feature for wind pollinated plants or anemophilous plants. And one more, in wind pollinated plants, there is a well exposed stamens are present. Well exposed stamens are present. If the stamens are well exposed, these are easily dispersed pollen grains into air currents. For easy to disperse pollen grains into air currents, all stamens are well exposed to outside of the plant body. And one more, a large feathery stigma is present. This is a large feathery like hair like large bird feathery like stigma is present. The main important characteristic feature due to presence of feathery stigma, it's easily trap airborne pollen grains. If the pollen grains are present in air, easy to trap airborne pollen grain, there is a large feathery stigma is present in wind pollinated plants. It is one of the important characteristic feature. And one more, in wind pollinated plants, pollen grains are very lightweight and non-sticky. Whenever the pollen grains are lightweight and non-sticky, it's easily carried in air for dispersal of pollen grains from one plant to another plant. This is important characteristic feature. And one more, in wind pollinated plants, thousands of pollen grains are releases. For the loss of more number of pollen grains, each ovary produces only one ovule. In wind pollinated plants, one of the most important characteristic feature, for the loss of thousands of pollen grain, each ovary produces only one ovule. This is the important characteristic feature of wind pollinated plants. This is. And one more, there is no need to attract any insects or birds or bats or snails or snakes. So that's the reason in wind pollinated plants there is no production of nectar to attract the insects. There is no smell production or fragrance. There is no production of nectar and fragrance. Nectar and fragrance is absent. If any plant can exhibit pollination by wind, cross pollination by wind, it must be fulfilled following these characteristic features. Characteristic features of water pollinated plants. If the cross pollination by water is called as hydrophily. Generally, water is an abiotic agent. It is a rare abiotic agent in a flowering plants. It is restricted to only 32 genera of plants. Water is a rare abiotic agent. It is not seen in all plants. It is restricted to only 32 genera of plants. Especially we are seen in monocots. The hydrophily, it can be takes place outside the water or inside the water. Because of this characteristic feature, hydrophily is of two types, epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. Example for epihydrophily, the fresh aquatic plants Vallisneria and Hydrilla. Example for hydrophily, a marine aquatic plant seagrass, scientific name is Zostera. And the fourth characteristic features of water pollinated plants is pollen grains in water pollinated plants are lightweight and unwettable. Means, for example, this is the structure of pollen grain. Each pollen grain having two wall layers, outer exine and inner intine. In water pollinated plants, the pollen grain surrounded by a gelatinous sheath protecting from wettable. So that's why the pollen grains are light and unwettable. And the fifth characteristic features of water pollinated plants, stigma is long and unwettable, protecting from wet. And here there is no need to attract any insects. So that's why there is no production of nectar and fragrance. These are the following characteristic features of wind pollinated plants. If any plant can exhibit these following characters, those plants can pollinated by water. Water pollinated plants are called as hydrophily. For example, in epihydrophily, in Vallisneria, how cross pollination takes place by water. Generally, Vallisneria is a dioecious. Male sex organ present in male Vallisneria plant, female sex organ present in female Vallisneria plant. The male flowers present in male Vallisneria, female flowers present in female Vallisneria. Vallisneria is a dioecious plant. How cross pollination takes place in Vallisneria plant by water or outside the water or epihydrophily. Generally, this is male Vallisneria plant having male flowers. When these male flowers are cutted from the male Vallisneria plant, these male flowers are passively move in the water towards female unisexual flowers in Vallisneria. In female Vallisneria plant, the flower having long pedicel. Due to presence of long pedicel, the stigma is projected outside the water. When the male flowers are cutted from male Vallisneria plant, these male flowers move passively towards female Vallisneria plant or surface of stigma. This process takes place outside the water. Then this phenomenon is called epihydrophily. epihydrophily. This is the phenomenon of epihydrophily in Vallisneria plant. Whereas in the type of hypohydrophily, example, marine aquatic seagrass commonly called as Zostera. It is a submerged plant. Whenever the plant is submerged, suspended inside the water, the pollen grains in seagrass is long and ribbon shaped. Because of long and ribbon shaped pollen grains, whenever it is suspended inside the water, the pollination takes place inside the water. Such kind of phenomenon is called hypohydrophily. Example, Zostera, commonly called as sea grass. These are the characteristic features of water pollinated plants or hydrophilous plants.